Hi, my name is Maycee Weast, and today I'm going to be talking about how to make apple cider. Here's my audience. My family has had a tradition of making apple cider every single fall for the last 25 years. The process of making homemade apple cider is a tedious yet easy process that has a tasty and rewarding finish. There are a few different steps that go into making apple cider. First off, you have to pick your apples and then get them cleaned and prepped to go through the machines. The machines are what make your apples go from just solid apples into an actual juice. These machines are called the chopper and the press. Once the apples are put through the press, you will reap the reward of your hard work and you will have your apple cider. The first step is to gather your apples. When you're gathering your apples, it is always best to get your apples fresh from an orchard. But store-bought apples will work as well. Your apples do not have to be perfect. They can have some bruises here and there and some rough spots. But be sure to make sure that the majority of your apple is usable and is not bruised all around. Rotten apples are to be avoided. When choosing your apple that you use to make your cider, you should be aware that using different varieties of apples will cause your cider to taste differently. It is recommended that you use 2 to 3 different kinds of crisp, juicy apples to make your cider. And if you're feeling a little creative, you can try different apple mixtures, or even add a few pears into the mix. We usually pick 10 to 12 bushels of apples, that is nearly 400 pounds. No matter where you get your apples, you want to wash them to make sure you get any pests or bacteria off of the apples. To be able to wash a lot of apples at a time, you should put your apples into a bucket of water with approximately 3 tablespoons of bleach. Now comes the most tedious part of apple cider picking, which is cutting any rotten and unwanted spots off the apple and disposing of them. Then you cut the remainder of your apple into halves or into fourths. Whether you cut it into halves or into fourths is dependent on the size of your apple. If your apple is a larger apple, you will cut it into fourths. If it is a small to medium apple, halves should be able to work. This is so that the apples will be able to fit through the chopper. This step of cutting the apples takes the longest and is typically the most least desired job when it comes to apple cider making. Yet it also gives you the chance to sit and talk to family or friends or anyone that is around. Now we are ready to turn our apples into apple cider. Without a chopper and a press, this would not be possible, and we would end up with just apple wedges. After cutting the apples into halves and fourths, you put them into the chopper. The chopper has rotating sharp blades and gets the apples into the appropriate size for juicing, which is significantly smaller than the size of the apples that were cut by hand. Think of about the texture of an oatmeal or an apple cider, an applesauce. This can be a very dangerous machine because of the sharp blades and how quickly they are moving. You have to make sure that you're being careful around the chopper and that you're being very vigilant while working with the chopper. This tends to be the most desired job, but also one of the most messy parts of apple cider making, because sometimes the chopper spits apple fragments out into the air. Once the apples are chopped, it's time to get your apples ready to go through the press. To do this, you put your apples into a fine mesh bag and place the bags into the press. Once it is full, you place the lid on top of the press and put some wooden blocks or other heavy objects on top of the lid. Now you take the handle and rotate the handle to push the press down. This causes the cider to start coming out of the spout of the press. And now you have the apple cider. My family's favorite way of drinking apple cider is putting a cup underneath the spout and drinking it fresh from the press. We do not heat up our apple cider to pasteurize it, so anything that will not be drunk in the next few days after being made is to be frozen so you can enjoy it all year round. Making apple cider can be a tedious and very time-consuming job, but for my family, the memories that are made and the delicious cider that is enjoyed is worth every minute. Thank you.